Fantastic pendejo. Fantastic Siggy. Fantastic Shay. Holla at your fucking boy. So, today's the day. I'm bad with these videos. I don't go on ahead and get all the fucking details, my verbal details versus my physical details. So I deeply apologize if I go on ahead and I chap your ass. It's not my intention to chap your ass. It's just my intention to go over what we're doing with the car, how we're doing it, and the why part, and what we embarked. Whispering for?
We're honest. Don't get your fucking feelings hurt. If it hurts your feelings, take the fucking video off your screen.
Oh my god, takes after his fucking dad. Wait till I find his dad. No, I'm playing it. It's my son.
Hey, y'all.
So, okay, I just spent like fucking a whole minute, a whole 60 seconds wasting your fucking time. Without further ado, can you do me a favor and truthfully give me a helping hand?
Yeah.
So, the owner of the vehicle was transparent that the car needed a lot of work. Okay, now I understood it was going to need quite a few. I would rather it be few, ton, whatever the case may be. Remember, guys, when I sat there and I told you we bought a ton of parts for this shit. Okay, we're looking at I won't say the entire brake system, but you're looking at rotors, pads, hardware kit, control arms, wheel hub assemblies, axles, struts. Let me say that right. Strut assemblies. Okay. And a trunk full of parts. I know he's going to keep the car for a few years, but I want to also make sure that it's also safe. Everything's been buttoned up. So, we did the engine and trans mount. I am going to take the time out one day. I'm going to take it over to my boy's lift. And we are going to show you not the before and after, but everything that what we possibly embarked on changing on the vehicle. Okay, and the why part, how to do it. So it's basically a gigantic fucking recap. So today was transmission service day. Most people were like, oh my God, 215,000 miles. Don't touch it. Get the fuck out of here. Touch the shit out of that shit. You want to touch it. So, to my surprise, unfortunately, we ended up emptying out the transmission pan. And I was really surprised. Yes, it was dirty. Yes, the transmission fluid had virtually no life in it left. The gasket was shot. But there was no chunks of metal in the vehicle, in the transmission pan. Just regular fine shavings. Had a ton of it. But needless to say, I was really surprised. However, it was really bad. How bad? That is not engine oil. That is transmission fluid. Okay, 1 second here. Sorry about that. Light, very bright. Can't even see through it. It is completely fucking shot. That looks like engine oil. Yes, this is transmission fluid. So, as you guys been seeing in the videos, and we'll get to the recap of some things, we ended up doing a lot of SKP parts. Some people like them, some people don't. I'm not taking it to the track. I did some research. Boom for your buck. This is going to be the best bet. If it breaks, fuck it. We replace it. No biggie. But for boom for your buck. What we ended up doing is we ended up going on ahead, or I ended up getting the SKP engine oil pan and the transmission oil pan. The transmission oil pan has a drain plug. When you get these pans, okay, should you be like, hey, you know what? I just need a fucking cheap pan. It's just made out of steel. Did they fit? Perfectly. No bullshit. Ended up going with an inexpensive gasket, I didn't have to go with AC Delco. There are no leaks. We made sure that it was the right one for the vehicle. Just so happened on the transmission pan, if you see M6, that means it's the size of your bolt. So, should you go on ahead and say, hey, you know what? Fantastic Pendejo's onto something. I don't have to spend a lot of money for pan and transmission pan. If you don't find it for the Regal, go to the Grand Prix the exact same year. That's what I ended up doing. I went to the Grand Prix 2003 and got the pan for it. Fit perfect. 3.8. What I also ended up doing, we noticed that the drain plug that comes on these SKP pans are basically garbage. It's literally a bolt and a crush washer. So what we ended up doing is this. I ended up bringing both pans to O'Reilly's and just so happened to need 2 of those. I have a small 13 millimeter hex bolt, but the flange, it's flanged out pretty big. I saw another one where it's just a massive head on there. I was just like, oh, looks fucking Kinshinzi. The one thing great about this is that they had the gasket inlaid like a normal oil pan drain plug. So we ended up buying 2 of them. Those were the part numbers that actually fit the SKP transmission and engine pan. So I will take you underneath there. Bear with me, okay? I gotta move the camera around. I gotta move shit around.
Here, go home.
Okay. 1 second. You go down.
Put up YouTube.
So.
I got it facing.
Okay. Those are both the SKPs. Okay. Those are the drain plugs. Give me 1 second. I know I'm moving the camera around a lot, so let me move this light so it's not blaming. But as you can see, what I meant by a flanged. No leaks. The transmission is completely filled with fresh fluid. AC Delco. We went with the original AC Delco transmission fluid, and it is completely dry. Oop, wait.
And then we just bought these at O'Reilly's.
Okay, all nice and dry. And again, inexpensive gasket, nothing too crazy. We did end up breaking that, so I ended up going to O'Reilly's and just picking one up. Give me 1 second. Okay, back from underneath the car. So yeah, no leaks. Everything was great. And again, we bought the car. I'm like, you know what? Let me service it. Why not? As with a lot of the stuff that I inspected, I'm like, you know what? Let me just go in there. Let me just service everything. Engine flush, fresh plugs, things of that nature. You can go ahead and clean. Right. So we ended up also cleaning up the engine bay a little bit. There it is. So bear with me. So this loom used to go straight across. I didn't like that. I also caught it getting close to the belt. So I saw on some of the guys that are on the Facebook pages, I saw this loom coming down. I am going to go on ahead and try to rework that so it just doesn't come straight across. Maybe bring it up a little bit and zip tying it. So, but it actually, if you loosen the one nut that's up here and pull this out, I have it running right in here. I unbolted that out, moved some things around, laid that in there, and then brought it up over. There's the piece of plastic that is here. Okay, there's nothing on the other side, so I drilled a small little hole and zip tied it. Came up underneath, and voila, there she is. The other thing that was chapping my ass is the way I had these. I had these, 3 of them going this way, 3 of them going that way, just looked like shit. So as I watched everybody else's, they come up underneath the dog bone. 3 of them go that way, the other 3 go up this way. Had a buddy of mine get me those clips from the boneyard. I ended up, unfortunately, zip tying those to where they were at. He didn't have them on there. They must have broken off from the previous owner. So that goes all the way over into that other clip. And then I believe I've got them zip tied back here. Okay. Normally, there is a, trying to remember what the hell they call it, but your spark plug wire, there's a spark plug wire holder that goes here. You got a lot of guys that say, well, you know, take that off, it starts fires because of oil leak. Won't start a fire if you clean your fucking engine bay out and fix the fucking oil leak. That's how that works. But sooner or later, we're going to get those back so we can place those back in there, give it a much fresher, clean look. For right now, I have friction tape, high temp friction tape, to keep it away from the fans until I get that one and the other one that goes in the back. But that's where we're at. Granatelli wires, you can obviously see the ZZ Performance ignition coils, and that has a K&N air filter. Is there a difference? Absolutely. The plugs, we ended up going with OEMs. That's the part number. So, that was the tidbit, at least a little bit about that. But yeah, today was transmission day. We're going to try to see if we can get to the power steering fluid. Take that, flush that out. As you saw, I had a big jug of O'Reilly's. That is power steering fluid. As I talked to my guys over at O'Reilly's, they have insight on who actually manufactures their fluids. So, very knowledgeable. They keep up with the information that one needs. Because a lot of us get skeptical. We're like, oh, fucking, it's O'Reilly's, man. It's a house brand. Is it good? Is it shit? So they should be like, no, it's good shit. So there's some things that you move over to O'Reilly's brand, some stuff you don't move over. We ended up doing Royal Purple for the engine oil. We settled on the AC Delco transmission fluid. I wasn't going to skimp on that. I attempted to go Royal Purple. I'm glad I didn't fucking do that because that Royal Purple transmission fluid does not fucking go in there. So that's what we're doing today. But again, you know, previous owner did tell me the car's going to need some work. Okay. Regardless if it needed a little bit or a lot, guy gave it to me for $500. Who gives a fuck? No worries.
Don't be afraid to work on your car.
There you go. Don't be afraid to work on your car. It's a project car. It's a father and son car. I was going to take it to the mechanic. My son and I talked about it. We were kind of iffy because of the time frame that I did not have. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. If I got to come home from work and put in a couple hours, then that's what we'll do. Sure shit. A couple hours here, a couple hours there. We're slowly but surely getting to the home front. We're getting very close to the suspension. I wanted to make sure that the fluids were all done so that we can start concentrating on all the suspension parts. And again, once I get down to the recap, I will recap on what process and why that process happened the way it did. Okay, so be patient with me, and I will get back to all of you on that whole recap. But until then, yeah, that was the transmission fluid. 215,000 miles it had on the vehicle. Obviously, the transmission fluid hadn't been changed for a very long time. So I'm going to pause this. We're going to drop the vehicle. We're going to take her for a little test drive, get the fluids nice and going. And then I'm going to let you guys know how it feels after that. Don't go nowhere. Yeah, it's definitely changing a hell of a lot better. So what we're going to end up doing, because we bought the pan that has a drain plug in it, we will drive said vehicle. By hopefully this time next year, we probably would have done, I'm going to assume, maybe an additional 3 more drain and fill. Not flush and fill, drain and fill. And by then, hopefully all the garbage fluid would have been gone. So, but other than that, it's in regular drive, and that's way fucking better. So again, I mean, it's in drive, you know, so this thing does again, giving it to the TLC, doing certain things, certain fluids. Some people are very finicky and they'll go on ahead of it. Man, it's got to be only this type of brand. Use the brand that best fits your needs. Okay, we are going to. We're going to be beating on this fucking car heavily, so that's why we went in the direction that we did as far as engine oil, spark plug wires, ignition oil, air filter, and transmission fluid. As I looked around for the transmission fluid, it said 7.5 quarts. Some people are finicky, and it's okay to be finicky. If you're the type of individual that says, all right, I want to do exactly what's recommended, by all means. For me, it's fuck, if you're buying, you got no choice, but they don't sell half quarts. So we dumped in a full 8. So it takes 7.5, we dumped in an extra half a quart. So that's not a biggie. Same thing with the engine oil. The engine oil takes 4.5, we gave it 5. Ironically enough, the filter, we like to fill the filter up. It's just my pet peeve, just to make sure it's nice and wet. That took close to literally almost a half a quart. But she's definitely a difference. It used to slip. So what we ended up doing, and again, so I apologize for the video taking so long. So what I ended up doing is, I was curious, is the transmission bad? Because if a transmission is bad, it's bad. What do I mean? If you shift, that's first gear, it bit. And I was running through all the gears as if this was a stick shift. If anybody's driven stick, you already know where the RPMs are at. You can feel it. I ran through all the gears. Cluster issues. You guys know what I'm talking about. So, but yeah, as we start getting more into the fluid, I wanted to see, hey, is it the transmission? What is it? So, still gonna do some more testing. We'll see what happens later on. If it needs to be rebuilt, then fuck it. We will rebuild it. But other than that, yeah, that's definitely, it's got more bite. Definitely got more bite. So, I'm gonna head over to O'Reilly's. We're gonna do what we need to do. I'll let your fucking boy.